Here we go, trading SINA. This morning, SINA had a high of $102.15. We were getting in down here around the 98.65 area, 15 cents off the low, right, MMTs?
That is correct.
And the thing about this trade, so how many people are live in this trade right now? We've got...
Rick is.
Okay.
Dave is.
Dave is. Who else?
I got out.
You're out of the trade or in the trade?
No, I'm not in the trade. I'm not in the trade.
Okay, so where was your exit?
I got out at $125.
And where was your entry?
My entry was at 99.75.
So your entry was clear down here at
Yes.
So it came off of the bottom and you got in over here. We had a lot of entries over here where I gave the flash trade right over here. So David, you're in at what price? 98.75?
No, I got stopped out at 99.53 right there at the M8 crossover, and I tried to get back in on that big green bar, and I didn't get back in till 99.73. I'm in at 99.73 right now.
Okay, so you had two entries. Okay.
Right.
So this in our platform, you can tell that SINA is trading quite different than the other day. But the lesson is that on the opening bell, before, remember in pre-market I said about taking those bids way down below the market, that the last 3 days we had the gap, and then from the gap we would run and make the higher highs all the time. Remember those last 3 days, right? And today was totally a different day. So what we're going to do is move our stop market order up to protect some more of the gains. The half bar right here is 100.15, everyone. So what I'm going to say now is based on what we are below 45. So 45, we stay here at the price there. 0.7 must go down to 0.00.
Where do you want that stop?
We've been, well, we're going to put the stop at 99.93 cents. Because we got most of the people that are in down here to protect the majority of the profit. We've been in this trade for extremely a long period of time, coming up off of that bottom there, which was ultimately the wholesale price. They shook all the buyers out all the way down. Once they cleared them out, then the system said, well, it's time to it's time to go long, and we did. And we've been in this trade for a very, very long period of time today from this wholesale area down here, and the buy bars that were coming in right in here, and then the consolidating the lines up here are two teenies up, that's 70 cents. And when we stay above this 45 area, just like in these areas, and they're broke, we're going to see here it's either make or break. Either the current trend ratio comes down towards 0.00. This is going to be that at 45 we're just consolidating the line. Once again, generally these things are popping. The bid is 101.22 by 128. Basically managing profit risk. I mean, we have good profits made. Now we manage the risk of those profits, everyone. And it's very important to always think about risk before profit. So always think about the risk, because that risk is what makes profits. It's where the opposite is no one wants to address risk. And they're consumed only by the move instead of looking at what that risk is and what the plan, what kind of plan to that risk is. Is that right, Leo? So
on that, I put a limit order at 99.25 and 99.10, but they assigned me higher.
Well, that's because you're on the paper trading status. Look,
I got panicked out at that red bar, and so I canceled them, or I sold them off.
all right.
I would have rode that 99.25 and that your limit order of 99.10 all the way up with you guys, but I got panicked.
Yeah, so you had a panic instead of just working with the application. So the panic got in the way of the trade.
Yeah, well, I had three of them then, because I didn't, there were two of them I had set way down there, and then
Right.
I had one going at like 99.80 I
Hmm.
was assigned, and then all of a sudden I had 300 shares going down that big candle.
Uh-huh.
So it looked kind of nasty.
Well, would it
But,
be fair to say that you learned how that bottom finally got in there?
well,
And
yeah, well, I just joined you when you said 99.10. I put a
right.
limit out there, and for some reason I thought that might be a good idea.
Considering that you weren't buying the high at 102 like everyone else.
Yeah.
And buying down here is where you have very little risk, right?
Yeah, we worked hard to get down there, and then
Yep.
I got washed out.
We did. But the majority of the people are still in it, and we're still going to have to deal with 45 IR here and this coming down. But once again, it was a great entry so far. I'll put it on pause for a moment.
Yeah.
Once again, one thing that so what do we do best here, SMF, MMTs? What do we focus on? What is our main focus when it comes to the market?
Managing
Manage
risk.
risk.
Manage the risk, which is quite different than what other people do, right?
That's right. They're just out
Yes.
slinging.
Okay. And the thing about it is risk and volatility is volatility. Stop market orders, profit on trades, entries with stop market orders is always addressing that risk. And risk has always got to be the number one factor. Where most retail traders are not willing to address that risk because, it's not like they have a platform like you have here. And if this goes down to 0, then we break higher. And if this goes north of 45, it'll break. If it stays at 45, these are all very narrow range price movements. And we moved our stop up to 100.5 cents. And we're going to give it that because at that point in time, if they do these flash trades in here like they were doing earlier, we're just not going to barter with it. We have a good gain. We'll take our good gain. And we'll update this trade again, and if it does break down and we do get our stop market order, we'll address once again buying back down here where some of the breakouts occurred if this was to turn around. Right now it's trying to maintain a narrow 3-minute price movement, and this right here is going to be support level, that 10-minute period moving average right here. Okay, and that's 99. Let's see what it is. That's 100.08. And your stop market order is a few pennies below that. So that way, if it does fall through it, you're guaranteed your profits. And you can't get flash traded all the way down and lose your profits. So that's a standard technical indicator that the public looks at. But we have the right stop market order from getting in down here. It's been a very, very, very long trade, and it's instilled a very good disciplinary factor. I think that the discipline level by doing things this way correctly, do you all feel much more willing to, as discipline and patience grows, right?
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah, very
Right?
much so.
So
IR is holding above 45.
right, it is. So we all agree that patience and discipline is something that has to be learned. And
Part of the
go ahead.
part of the lesson learned for me today, right here, was to not move my stop up too tight, too quick. I think this is why I get stopped out.
Right.
I need to really let it work more.
Right. And we'll work on that, and that's the difference about each day of growing into this is understanding those things. And by doing that, that's what we did. Right now, because we're up toward the top of the channel here, that's why I decided that, hey, look, at that price level, we take it. We're below the 10-minute. We're not stopped. We're close. Our stop is 5 cents. But we're guaranteed the majority of our money.
Yeah, now we're out.
Yep, Rick Golia, everyone stopped out. You're below 45. This is going back the wrong way. Learning when to sell up at the top. We just did it. We
Yes,
just
we did.
did it.
Yes. Yes, we did.
And this is the reason why. Now I'm going to give another order down below the market again. We're going to go down here to 99, let's say 51 cents. Because we just exited a trade. This is what it's about. Knowing when to come
99.51.
out. Knowing when to exit. Knowing when to work with it to the top. And knowing, okay, at that point, I had to ring the cash register. Because my risk is elevated, whether it wants to go back above it or not, we weren't going to barter or gamble with our profits.